if he's a leader in general, then obviously that's going to translate into being a leader for whatever partner you choose. Like so they're like transferable skills in a sense, you
Right,
know.
but that still doesn't mean that man is a good leader.
So what makes a man a good leader?
But there's a lot of things you can do to determine that, though.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
you can look at a lot of things like credit score. Does he pay his bills on time? What does his crib look like? Is it tidy? Is it clean? Is it stuff all over the place? Is it untidy? What does his car look like? Is his car well maintained? Does it have a check engine light that's been there for 6 months? Or are the tires damn near bald? Or are the tires always fresh and washed and clean? How does he maintain his hair? Does he always have a lineup? Does he always have his beard groomed, or is he disheveled half the time?
So a
I
leader
think
has
there are a lot of things that you can use to determine a person's ability to lead themselves, and then by judging their ability to lead themselves, you can judge how they can lead others. Oftentimes,
I don't know about that example, because I know some good leaders who are not. They're not that. I don't want to. I'm trying not to use the word organized because I don't want you.
Well put together. I would say well put together.
Yeah,
I don't know a good leader that's not organized.
I know leaders who are well put together, but they might not have the cleanest home. They might hire somebody. They might not be natural organizers. You know what I mean? They're more of like, go-getters on the go, on the move. They don't have a lot of time to do all of those other things. So it might get out of, tact every now and again, but they're still good leaders.
Which would be poor time management. That would indicate poor time management, which would indicate poor leadership skills.
Or maybe it's not a priority. It just might not be a priority.
Angie, what I'm trying to figure out your question from
Even if it's not a priority, someone who has proper leadership skills will find a way to take care of the things that aren't a priority.
For sure. Like they'll hire somebody to do it for them. For sure.
All right, go ahead. Hold on. I think Kelly had a question for Angie. Go ahead.
So, Angie, your question to the men was, what are the expectations when dating a woman?
What is it? What
do you think the woman's expectations are?
Yeah, like what's reasonable for women to expect when going into the dating? Like y'all say, he has to be somewhere.
Let her answer it, Di. She was asking Angie.
Your name ain't Angie, Di. Come on now.
My question was this, because I hear a lot of disagreement when it comes, like a lot of pushback when I hear you guys, or even other conversations where women are saying, okay, this is what a man needs to have to be a provider. It always gravitate towards financial or materialistic things, right? So I was and men push back a lot on that, and there's just a lot for it. So I'm just trying to get the man's understanding of what they feel like if their mother or if their daughter, or if a loved one who was a woman was entering a relationship with the man, what should she expect, in the entry part of the dating phase and the entry part of the commitment phase. Let's just make it a little bit more specific so it won't be.
What do the men think a woman's expectation should be when you're starting out in a relationship?
Like what they feel like is appropriate for a woman to expect coming into the beginning of the dating stage versus coming into the commitment stage.
Now, so you didn't receive none of what I said, though. You didn't receive none of what I said, Angie, at all. I mean, what I said was just
I heard
consistency.
So, but why did we get away from the one thing we talked about leadership? There was other things that I said besides just leadership.
I didn't
look. A man has to have
things.
A man has to have purpose. He has to have morals. Those are very important things as far as a man that you should be looking for in a man. He has leadership. He does provide, but he provides for you mentally. Because, like I said before, some of you women will let the boiling water cook over, and it'll ruin your whole goddamn day. And that man's got to talk your ass off the goddamn ledge and bring you back because you allow that boiling water to ruin your whole goddamn day. Or you let one of your girlfriends say some silly shit at work, mess your whole day up. Now you bringing that shit home to him. I'll be goddamn. So now I got to get you back in that safe space where I need you mentally, where we could actually have a civil conversation because you was all mad at your coworker because what happened. That's part of that provision a man has to provide. But every time we hear y'all talk about it, it's always a wallet. It's always the man's wallet, what he could provide. If he could provide these things, if he could provide that big home for me, if he could buy the meals, if he could pay all the bills. That's what we always hear y'all say when y'all talk about provision. None of that other stuff. We just hear y'all talking about money.
Can I speak, please? Back to what I was asking Angie, and I think that her response was, what do the men think women should expect when dating? What are some of the things that a woman should when dating? Not what should the man provide to a woman? What is it that you all think a woman should expect in dating? What are the things that you think a woman is looking for?
She changed the question though that second time.
I said that to Angie, and I asked her if my answer was acceptable. So yes, I guess you didn't hear what I said.
Hank, your answer, your response did respond to the question that I asked about what do we understand leadership to be. And Kelly, you're more so focused, wants us to discuss the question that you just that I said. So it's just both of you guys are not wrong. It's just I think that you're talking about two different questions. I did ask two questions.
Okay.
Their response.
Go ahead. Hold on.
Do the men have a response?
Go ahead, Cloud.
I've been trying to answer. I think there are plenty of things that a woman can expect. She should expect. She should expect honesty. She should expect consistency. She should expect respect. She should expect clear communication. She should expect gentleness and kindness. She should expect protection in the sense of like defensiveness, like protecting you from harm's way. She should expect care, consideration. I mean, there's so many things that a woman should expect from a man that I think are not necessarily quantifiable in a material way. She should expect intelligence, like she should expect poise, thoughtfulness, all of those things. Anybody else want to add?
Yeah, I can just add on to it. You should expect somebody to be like intentional, somebody to not have you confused. Some women always be like, what's going on here? Like, what are we doing? Because it isn't clear. But somebody that's intentional, they don't leave you in confusion. Something else that you can expect is there has to be some understanding. Understanding from both sides. So I think that's something that you should be able to expect, because you got to think about it. There's two different people from different parts of the world, or different upbringings, different experiences. Some may have the experience, some may not. Some may have too much, some may have traumatic. So just expect it to be work. And work is not necessarily a bad thing. I think any relationship requires some form of work. And you have to be able to evaluate that case by case. So you can't have everything was, when I first met my ex, everything was all good. We hit it all well, but then I meet you and I'm already seeing these things. That's a whole different person. So whatever things that you got used to with the ex, you got a whole new set. You might have more, you might have little, but either way, it's still going to be some form of work, because you got two completely different people.
Well, maybe it was my country accent that Kelly or Angie couldn't hear. That's because I said about 5 different things. But Kelly act like I didn't say a goddamn thing, but one thing about leadership, and that's the only thing I said. I said a man has to be one who has some type of moral. It's more than just about, like I said, leadership. He got to provide more than just financially. He's got to make sure he's an upstanding person in the community. He's got to have some type of ability to communicate. All of those things are very important as a leader. It's all about being not only just being a good communicator. You got to be a great listener, because men are going to have to do a lot more listening than communicating. Ladies, y'all do all the communicating. Y'all do all the talking. Y'all doing it tonight, and y'all doing a great job of talking tonight. I appreciate y'all for doing all the good talking. But we need some great listeners, and that's what men have to be. Because we have to cipher through a lot of stuff that y'all say and try to figure it out. Because y'all sometimes get all over the place. Y'all be over here 1 minute, and then you be over there 1 minute, and then we got to figure out and maneuver through this maze and try to understand it and then come up with some type of solution.